Everybody, it's your girl Tika Deshawn of All Things Ruthless, home of the Ruthless Addicts. Thank you all so much for tapping in and tuning in to All Things Ruthless. Let's dive into Tyler Perry's Zatima Season 2, Episode 19, Dear Mama. And this is my recap. We know that there were a lot of things that went on the very last episode. Prior to Episode 19, we saw that Zach's mom was in the hospital because of an overdose. We saw the fighting between he and Jeremiah. It shows the love-hate relationship that Zach has with his brother. We saw that there's a possibility that Zach may be having some financial issues, and there was just so much more going on. But the synopsis reads as follows. Zach and Jeremiah are at odds as they try to come to terms with their mother's fate, and Nathan apologizes to Fatima for disrespecting her. Okay? All right, you guys. So, like I said, episode 18 was absolutely crazy. Zach, literally also known as DeVal, had me crying. So, at the hospital, we see Zach and Fatima. And, of course, we get to see the doctor who finally walks up to Zach. Now, I didn't know what the doctor was going to tell him because the episode left off where she's like, Mr. Taylor, I'm sorry to have to tell you this. Now, with that, what she ended up saying was that Zach's mother was brain dead, that there was no way that she was going to be able to recover, and that he and his brother would have to make the decision to remove or turn off the plug or unplug the life support, because the only thing at this point that was holding her alive or holding her around was the breathing machine. There was no brain activity. There was nothing. But Jeremiah gets a little graphic and a little too wild with the doctor. So Zach has to get up and give him a 1-2 or 2-piece and a biscuit because he was just being way disrespectful. And Zach was just like, are you going to be able to, pay for it? So anyway, Zach and Fatima are allowed to go into Zach's mom's room. So he finally gets to see his mom after being there and waiting and waiting and waiting. So we see that she is there on life support. So Zach has a moment with his mom where he's talking to her, just trying to get her to, even though, because he asked Fatima, can she hear me? He just talking to her and venting and just telling her all the things that he wanted to tell her that she really couldn't hear when she was actually around. Unfortunately, his mom had a very bad drug habit that caused her to end up here in this bed at this very moment. And at this point, Zach is pretty much blaming himself. He's saying, I'm sorry that I gave you the money that did this to you. But in actuality, that's not the purpose of the money. The purpose of the money was so that they would come, she and Jeremiah would come to counseling with Zach and with Fatima. That was the only way that he could get him there. He didn't know that she was going to take the money and go and just do all kinds of drugs. So then there's a moment where the hospital people tend to show up at the very wrong time talking about some money. Like, this dude is dealing with his mom dying right now and y'all are concerned about money. So, Fatima says, she goes out because she says that she's Zach's wife. She goes out and tell her, look, we'll figure out everything. The decision does not have to be made right at this moment. Okay, it's $18,000 per day to keep somebody in the hospital. So after leaving from the social workers or the registrar's side, Fatima goes back into the room and she's there and she explains everything that the lady just told her, and that it's going to, cost money to keep your mom alive. And not even so much as being alive, but just on this particular machine, which is literally the only thing that's holding her, that's keeping her here. The machine is breathing for her. There's no brain activity. There's nothing. She's just a shell. And unfortunately, Zach and his brother are responsible for making the decision to pull the plug. Now, of course, Jeremiah's like, y'all aren't killing my mama. Y'all aren't killing my mama. And Jeremiah is, Zach is like, is it about the money? How long you got to wait before you get her next check? And to me, I don't think it's about the money. I think Jeremiah truly, just like any other child, truly loved his mom regardless of her flaws, regardless of his flaws and his drug addiction that he's trying to get past. He is truly sad that his mom is going through what it is, so that she's going through. So he has no other energy but to shift the blame onto Zach. And so he and Zach are there, but at the end of the day, Zach can't just make the decision alone. They have to make the decision together. They have to decide when they're going to do everything, when they're going to put a plug, when they're going to get to say their very last goodbyes with their mom. This was a very sad situation, but Jeremiah, the character who plays Jeremiah, he literally killed this scene. I absolutely salute he and DeVal. They both killed it. Like, Jeremiah had us all pissed off at him for a very long time. So he and DeVal, I salute them. This last half of Zatima actually resonated with a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of people can understand the emotions that one goes through when having to make decisions in regards to the health of their loved ones. So again, I salute the cast for literally killing it this second half of Zatima. So then we see walking in Angela's home, the one and only Bryce. Bryce goes and he basically makes an accusation that Zach is the reason why he cannot access his money. He's saying that the bank told him because of some deal with Zach, he has no access to his money. Now, do y'all think that this is a moment where the feds are coming for them, coming for Zach and his money? This is this is definitely going to be super interesting on how all this plays out. Bryce asks Angela to call Fatima, and she does that. And Fatima lets Angela know, I'll be at the hospital right now, but we'll check with you a little bit later. And again, Zach and Jeremiah are back at it again. They're arguing, trying to make a decision. Not really agreeing. They're not really agreeing at all. Neither one of them wants to let their mother go, but Zach is trying to tell them we have no choice. She is already gone, and the only thing that's keeping her here is that breathing machine. And he's like, yes, she's breathing, but the only thing that's keeping her here is her breathing. So Tony and Nate come back to the hospital, and they just check in with Fatima, and she lets them know, I'll let you guys know what's going on after the fact. Really, she was talking to Tony because Nate, she don't like Nate. You already know what Nate did. He was mad at Fatima, tried to break her and Zach up by dealing with Belinda and the whole app and all of that stuff. So finally, Nate has no choice but to go ahead and apologize to Fatima. He says that I really, really am sorry that I put you through the nasty comments and statements and tried to break you and Zach up. I really, really am sorry. I honestly did not know about the app. That was all Belinda, but I can assure you that from now on, I will treat you with way more respect. And Fatima's like, okay. She's Fatima. She's not going to just immediately open up back to him. Especially with him being a part of the majority of the chaos that has gone on between Zach and Fatima. So the doctor comes out one more time and she talks to Zach, and she's just explaining to him, we literally tried everything. There's no brain activity. We don't see her being able to survive any of this. So Zach says to Fatima, can we go home and talk about this? And basically, Zach just wants reassurance that Fatima is going to be there with him through everything. He does not want her to leave, so she agrees to go home with him. So then, of course, at the home, we see that Deja has a neck brace. Now, did Madam get to Deja yet? Is that why she was rocking that neck brace again? Anyway, she's so apologetic to Zach and Fatima, and she's like, and I'm gonna have that money for you real soon. Y'all know how she does. So anyway, back inside the house, we see Zach and Fatima, and they're just talking, and he's like, she's telling them, you don't have to make a decision tonight. You can just think on it, change your clothes, get comfortable, whatever the case may be. So then outside we see Deja, of course, still outside. Now, she gets her flirt on with Bryce, but we see Bryce and Angela pulling up, and they're getting ready to walk into the house. But Deja, of course, we'll have some pretty babies. Y'all will have some pretty babies too, but ours will be prettier. So anyway, Angela and Bryce walk into the home, and Bryce explains to Zach that the money is gone, that all of their assets have been frozen, and he's like, what are you talking about? What is going on with the money? So this was the end of episode 19. And this whole conversation was Bryce literally accusing Zach of being the reason why the money was unavailable to them. So you guys will definitely have to come back for the season finale, literally the season finale, episode 20, to find out exactly what happened to the money, okay? All right, y'all, drop your comments below. Let me know your thoughts on episode 19. My thoughts, I feel bad for Zach. I hate that he's going through this. And sometimes there's a silver lining, but we don't quite know what it is until we actually get to it, okay? All right, y'all, that's about it. Thank you so much for tapping in and tuning in to All Things Ruthless, home of the Ruthless Addicts. And you already know, stay ruthless.